But as I'm falling, the more I'm falling, the more I'm feeling things getting stripped away from me. Meaning such as like hope, love, all the stuff that we take for granted here that we don't realize that come from God, they're stripped from you as you're falling to this place. I'm trying to get up. Then all of a sudden I felt something grab my head and I can see the claw. This thing had to be huge and it threw me. There's no form of hate here on this planet that can even get close to how they feel about us. They hate you so bad, you can feel it. The energy will kill you. You had a lot of people calling out to God. You had a lot of people asking for 5 more minutes, 1 more chance. I felt like I was there for months.
Wow.
It felt like I was there for months. And I was only there for like 3 minutes and 40-something seconds, 47 seconds.
Where were you shot?
In my stomach, twice.
Okay.
That's why I'm still experiencing medical conditions right now. I still have fragments of bullets in me, you know. But just starting off growing up in Chicago, it was that environment is so hellish. A lot of the choices that you have is pretty much the only gang you're going to choose. That is, I mean, your choices are limited. Job opportunities are limited. So me growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up, our district has over 500,000 people just in our district alone. So it's always crowded, a lot of gang activity, drugs, and me not having a lot of different role models. And I just didn't have the discernment to see the people around me that I should have followed. But I was more following the streets. You know, I was following more of the gang life. I wanted the money. I wanted the, you know what I mean? And also I was tired of struggling. So I wanted the fast way out. So by the time I was 12 years old, I joined the gang. I don't like to glorify it, so I won't name the gang that I joined because I don't want to give them no credit at all. You know, but I did join it's the infamous street gang that's all over the country that I joined. And I started selling drugs, you know. Instantly, I was good at that because one thing about me, I love school. School was always my place of peace. It kept my mind off my neighborhood. It kept my mind off everything. So when I went to school, it was just like peaceful to me. And I always loved to educate myself. So that was another thing that I realized God put inside me. But as soon as I got out of school, it's time to put on the war helmet. You know what I mean? It's a different feel to it. But I got pretty fast. I was very smart. So I was very intelligent in learning how to sell drugs. Moved up fast in the rankings because of my intelligence, but I was using my intelligence for the wrong thing.
So we're coming up to the moment now where you were shot, right? And then you had the experience, right? Lead us up to the moment where you got shot, and then what happened after that?
Sure, it was 2009. By then, I had some money, and you know, every weekend we go to the clubs. We go to the clubs looking for girls. We're smoking some weed. We're drinking in their life, right? So for us, it's a tradition to go get new clothes. You go to the club, you got to have a new outfit. So me and my friend, we're going to go shopping during the day. We go shopping, but I kept seeing this one guy, okay? First, we went to the clothing store. I come out, he's sitting on his car. And this is something in my spirit says, something is not right about this guy. But I looked at him, he said, what's up? And said, okay, what's up? We go to another store. I come out, he's outside the second store, way on the other side of our district. Just like it's no way you can keep running to the same person. So I thought it was, wait a minute. Now my spirit really was tugging on me. Like something is up with this guy. So again, I looked and he said, he's sitting on his car outside of the store. So I tapped my friend and said, hey man, this man is following us. This guy. And my friend laughed. He was like, dude, you're not that important. Nobody following you, man. Quit it. You're nobody to be thinking about. Stop it. You're paranoid. Okay, I brushed it off. So later on, I come out 2 or 3 hours later, we're dressed. I'm ready to go out. I come outside the building. Guess who's standing there? The same guy. So this time I said, okay, I'm about to question this guy and ask him, do I know him from somewhere? Where is he from? You know what I mean? Because enough is enough at this point. My spirit is telling me I need to find out what's going on. As I'm walking and approaching the guy, he had a cigar in his mouth. And he said, "Do you have a lighter on you?" I said, "Yeah." And so as I'm reaching in my pocket, I saw a green flash. It's the first thing I really remember. It was a green flash. Okay. Now it just seems like, I don't know if things go in slow motion. When your body experiences traumatic experiences, you either black out or time slows down for you. Okay. And I'm noticing how God put that in as a safety mechanism for your body, for us, so we won't be over traumatized by the experience. But as I look up, I smell like I don't know if you know what matches. Like if you would burn a whole book of matches, like the sulfuric smell.
Yeah,
that's what I smell. But as I look up to him, and he hit me again, wow, again. So now I'm looking at him, but he has this look on his face, and it was demonic. But it was just like a "I got you" look, like a, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But the second time I fall back, as soon as I'm falling back, I feel myself falling forward.
Okay.
It's hard to explain. I'm falling back, but yet I can feel myself falling forward, and instantly, it was instantaneous. It was just like that. I was in darkness. But like I described before, this darkness is not a darkness like here on earth. It's not like you can blindfold yourself, like you can put yourself underneath the earth, super blindfold yourself and dig deeper. And it's still, this darkness is alive. You understand? It had a spiritual component to it, to where I felt it was all over me, like it was holding me. But as I'm falling down, I can't even calculate the speed. But as I'm falling, the more I'm falling, the more I'm feeling things getting stripped away from me. Meaning such as like hope, love, all the stuff that we take for granted here that we don't realize that come from God, they're stripped from you as you're falling to this place. Okay? I want people to be aware. Don't take anything for granted. Because as I was falling, it's beyond, like I was saying before, at first, the terror. It's not fear, it's terror, and it's alive. It's a spirit. It's alive in that place. In the darkness, it's alive. It was alive. It was like the darkness had a consciousness of its own, and it was stripping me of everything good. So as I'm falling, it's so fast, and I can't even think clear, but I'm falling because people don't understand. Just say, for example, if you're here conscious, like we're talking right now, we're communicating, and then all of a sudden you're taken to just a whole nother place instantly. It's instantaneous. There's no slow build up to it. There's no nothing there. It's boom. Okay. And I'm falling, and I'm feeling this fear, but the speed of the fallingness, I can't even explain it in words, no matter what language, no matter what. It's spiritual. It's a spiritual component to everything. Now that in hindsight, and the more that I'm mature in my spirit, I'm realizing that it is all spiritual. The spiritual life, I was in my spiritual body. Okay. I'm falling. Now, the first thing that hit me was this smell. The smell. But see, people don't understand. I'm going to explain it again. When you pass away, you don't lose your five senses. Sight, hear, touch, taste. No. They heightened. They get more potent. So they raise times 1,000,000. So you become more sensitive. They don't go anywhere. They get stronger. So like if you were to smell this smell right now, the smell that I was smelling, there's no way your body would be able to take it here on this earth. There's no sewer, no dead bodies, no dead animals, rotting flesh. There's nothing that can compare to this smell. Okay. It is so bad. It is just, but as I'm falling, I'm just like, it's just overwhelming, the smell. And then all of a sudden I see a little light. It's a little light, because this darkness is so dark. You can see the light on like a top of a pinhead. It's bright compared to this darkness. So to see that little light, I'm thinking, but as I'm falling, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Then all of a sudden I felt heat. I can feel heat coming from this light. But I wasn't even now that I'm looking at it, I wasn't even paying attention to the heat because I was so scared. I'm smelling this smell, but I'm starting to see it looked like a big portal. But this portal looked like it was rocks. Okay. That's what I want to explain to people. Hell is here on earth, but it's in a different dimension. Yes. So now as I'm falling and I'm seeing this portal, and it's open, as it opened now, I'm pretty much right there and I can see every detail. Now remember, your senses are heightened. You can see a molecule if you wanted to, if you focus and zoom in on it. I mean, that's how pinpoint accurate your senses are in the spiritual body. Now I'm looking, and it's rocks, like stones, ancient rocks, caverns, but I fall through and I hit the bottom. Now, when I hit the
So
bottom,
the opening is like rocks, like a
yes,
circular.
it's
Okay.
like you're entering the cave system. It
Okay.
was like I was falling into an ancient cave system. That's the best way
Okay.
I can describe it. But the rocks were glowing. Everything on the rocks was so hot. They were like yellow, orange, white. They were hot. They were so heated. That's the little light that I was seeing. When I got there, I knew exactly that was that opening. So when I hit the bottom, I mean, I slammed so hard, but I didn't even feel that pain like that because when I tried to move, I was so more worried. I was like, I was just panicking so bad. I tried to move and I couldn't move the way we move here. It felt like I was wearing a big heavy suit, like I was weighed like 900 pounds. So just like I'm moving my arms now and I can do this and that. No, 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 no. First of all, you feel like instantly I felt I had no energy. I had no energy. And what that was, now that I realize, is that we're so used to being in our physical body. We're so used to things of our physical nature. Like I couldn't breathe. When I was trying to breathe, it was like like I couldn't even breathe. It's because I wasn't breathing in the first place. There's no oxygen in that place.
So
But
when
we're
you
so
realized where you were, what happened next?
I'm trying to get up. And it was so dark. She was just as dark. But all of a sudden, the only thing that illuminated that place, the first thing I saw before me were the pits. And they were like, flames were coming up. And then you can see when these flames come up, that's how you can see. But when the first pit lit up, I saw it had to be thousands, as far as your eye can see, of these pits. And they were connected in rows, but they would go so far, like, I mean, it had to be miles and miles and miles of these pits. But inside these pits, there were people, okay? But what really caught my attention before I describe the people in the pits were these beasts around all the pits. They were like giants. Some of them were like, and they all had like a reptilian kind of theme to them. They all looked like reptile, nasty, deformed. Some of them had long arms, short arm with a long arm, bodies. But the giants that I saw, someone had to be like 13 to 18 feet tall. I mean, huge. I'm talking about ripped up muscles, huge. I mean, they
Like
were
humanoid? Were there humanoids?
humanoid.
Like,
Yes, they had legs, they had arms, they had chest muscles. They were very humanoid, but not even close to humans. Not even. They were so ugly, and the smell that I was smelling, they stink. It was
okay.
them. It was them. Like yeah, they stink. They horrible smell to them. Horrible smell, and a lot of them smell like sulfur too. Like that's why a lot of people who I've talked to who had experiences with demons, they always smell like a sulfuric smell. They stink. They smell bad. They smell they're horrible. But then I also saw demons as tall as this pin. They're small. You got some. They all sizes, all shapes, all sizes. But they had some of them had red eyes, some of them had yellow eyes with the slits in them. And some of their skins were scaly. Like I said, they had that reptile, like the reptilian type look. But some of them didn't have the reptile look. Some of them were just so deformed and ugly, hairy. It just it just didn't make sense. Some of them were just so disproportionate. It didn't make any sense.
Did they notice you when you fell?
No, not right away. Not right away. One of them did, and that's how I look back because I never saw the Lord. I never saw the Lord. But now that I look back, He had to be with me to be protecting me because
Okay.
the hatred that they have for us, it is beyond description. It is beyond words. They hate. There's no form of hate here on this planet that can even get close to how they feel about us. They hate you so bad, you can feel it. The energy will kill you. If their hatred was in the form of a weapon, here on earth, you would die. You would die. They hate. When I say hate, hate is an understatement. Hate would feel like love compared to the hatred that they have for us. Literally. Yeah. But as I looked at the pits and the people, some of them were like charred skeletons, charred, burned up skeletons. Some of them had flesh hanging off of them. Okay. And the thing is, they were trying to crawl out. And now, I mean, because once you get there, you know that you know. You know. You know pretty much everything. You can see a person in hell and know why they're there. There's no time there. There's no time that you have to take to learn because everything is connected. So you know that you know. And they were there to guard the people from coming out the pit. They had these spears and these ancient things, and people were trying to crawl out. They were sticking them, grabbing them, especially the big giant, grabbing them and throwing them right back into the pits and the lava. I mean, and then what got me though, like I was saying before, I forgot to mention was the screams and the yells. Okay, it moves your spirit. The sense of the way these people were screaming and in agony and the regret and the pain, it is beyond comprehension. Even right now as we speak, that place is going on right now. And that's what reminds me every day. It's happening right now as we speak. People are there right now. And it's so many people. It is so many people. But as I'm trying to get up and I look, and I'm looking at these pits, and I'm just, now I thought I was already scared and full of anxiety. Now it's just beyond. It keeps growing. There's no limit to fear in the spiritual realm. Just when you think, okay, I'm maxed out of my anxiety. I'm maxed out on my, no. It keeps growing and it doesn't stop. There's no limit to how fearful you become. You know, I'm trying to get up. Then all of a sudden I felt something grab my head and I can see the claw. This thing had to be huge and it threw me. And when it threw me, I mean, the strength of this thing, it was like me picking up this pen and throwing this pen. It was like, it was nothing. So I don't care what people say, oh, I will go in down there and I'll fight. No, I'm sorry. No, it's not happening. I don't care if you're the strongest man on earth. You have nothing.
It's like you had no control, right? You have no control.
You have no control. You have no strength. It's like you didn't eat in months. You don't have no nutrients, no kind of muscle, none of that. That's out the window. That comes from God. And everything, nope, that's not there. So you can try your best if you want to, and there's nothing going to happen. So as I got hit this wall. But now as I noticed, as I once again, Lord had to be with me because I didn't feel, because of the force that I was thrown, I would have felt, I knew I was going to feel the pain. Because one thing I'm going to explain to everyone, like I explained before, my testimony is that here on the body, we have a nervous system, right? So if I was to touch you and just pinch your hand, you would feel it only on your hand. In the spirit world, there's no such thing. If you get hit in the hand, you feel it through your whole body simultaneously at the same time. You won't feel it just in an isolated place where you got pinched. You will feel it all at one time from your head.
So pain also is more intense as well.
By a million. And that's an understatement. It is, see, because the spiritual world is people don't understand. Everything here physical is the leftovers from the spiritual world. But as I look up, I'm on the side and it's like a stone mountain, but in the mountain were jail cells, rows and rows of these cells as far as your eye can see up. Like, and I grew up in skyscrapers my whole life, and I know what it is to live in the sky, literally. But these things were so high, like they were built into the side of a mountain, and there were rows and rows of cells, like the old cells, not like the modern day jails with the door with the slit. No, the bars, and they look ancient, rusty. But instantly I knew. All of a sudden, I start looking, and you can see people, activities, and all of these different cells. But then it would be like 3 feet apart. It'd be stones, another cell, stones, another cell, 3 feet apart. Like this estimating 3 to 2
and all the way up,
The same way I saw the pits all the way going across. These were all the way up as far as my eyes can see. Literally, like I couldn't even see it no more, but you can still see cells. And instantly I knew these were ancient. I knew that the people were there for thousands of years. Thousands of years. I mean, I'm talking about biblical times. They've been in there since. You know, people can't even imagine because time, see, like we're so used to time here. You can't imagine no time. There is no time there. Time stops. There is no time in the spirit world. It doesn't exist. Time is only used in the physical manifestation for us to organize things and keep schedules. It doesn't exist. All hope is gone when you're there. There is no, at least, like for example, I was explaining. Back when I used to live my back life, because I did go to jail a couple of times. I was in jail, okay? I had hope because I had an out date, right? So you say, okay, I'm getting released in 8 months. That gives you some hope that I'm getting out of here in 8 months. But when you're in hell, there is no out date. There is no time. There is nothing to no schedule. There is none that's gone. You know you're there. And the worst part is, I knew I deserved to be there. That was the thing that really got me. I had no rebuttals for me not being there. Okay.
So you weren't crying for mercy. You weren't calling out to God. Nothing like that.
No. And that's another thing. See, the people don't understand the things that I was hearing. You had a lot of people calling out to God. You had a lot of people asking for 5 more minutes, 1 more chance. Please, I'm sorry. Let me make it up to you. Can hear everything. That's another thing I want to add. When I was talking about the 5 senses being heightened, you can hear everybody screaming at one time, but you can individualize every person. You can individualize every scream. You can individualize. But then I heard a lot of blasphemous things towards God. I heard a lot of anger, a lot of cursing God out. I heard a lot of big time. People were angry.
Only people were making sounds. The demons weren't making any sounds, or whatever those
Oh
creatures
no,
were.
demons! Yeah. Oh, that was. I was going to get to that. When the demons were communicating with each other, they have their own language, and their whole language hurt my body every time they talked. Every time they talk.
So you never understood what they were saying.
Oh yeah, you understand everything. I'm gonna use the term. You overstand everything that they saying. What they was communicating back and forth, they were calling us stupid humans. When they were grabbing and torturing humans and doing all type of things, they were calling us stupid and they were laughing. They laugh, they enjoy. Because what I found out and what I saw myself through my experience is that they get energy off our pain. They eat it. It's a form of food to them. It's like a drug to them. They get high off of it. That's why they're here on earth. They keep us depressed, angry, full of anxiety, because they're feeding off that. That's their food. They literally eat that. So they cause situations for you to feel that way so they can eat. They eat off that. And in hell, they have an abundance, nonstop supply of food because all they do is torture. They say if your arm gets ripped off, your arm will grow right back. Rejuvenate. And it happens over and over and over again. Like I say, I saw tons of people there where they were ripping over their mouth and pouring hot lava down their throats. They'll melt and they'll come right back and they'll do it all over again. And then they invite other demons to come and get their turn. Like I was also mentioning about promiscuous women who were there and men. But I saw my experience. I saw majority of what I saw were the women being raped by demons. This one lady was being raped and tortured so bad sexually that I'm not going to say it on here, but it's beyond horrible. But I'm talking about, it's and then some of the tortures are so bad. I still to this day I can smell a certain smell, especially matches. I don't like the smell of matches at all because it brings me back to that. It reminds me of that. Yeah, it does, like PTSD big time. I don't like that. But
your wife said you said something about I think it wasn't the last one I listened to actually. You said you saw pastors and people like that there. Could you explain?
Yes, you know what? And I saw, and a lot of them were still dressed in suits. Okay, there was like a cavern, like a cave, and a lot of them were just sitting there, like they were waiting. Well, the demons would come in, especially the giant ones, and snatch them up and throw them in boxes. They were throwing these pastors in boxes. They had all types of stuff for them. They had all types of, like they had a field day with the pastors, the fake pastors. I'm going to be honest. A lot of them were just misusing their authority that God gave them. Okay. For one example, they threw this one pastor in a box, and it was an old nasty box, but the box was filled with hot coals in it. So when they throw them in it and they close it, you can hear them. I mean, the screams are beyond. Like you can feel it. You can feel it's just the anguish and the pain. And they were throwing these things in them. They were stabbing this. They were ripping people apart. They were eating people, especially the pastors. They had they had a real good time with them. They were enjoying, like really. A lot of people who I saw were a part of the church. Like I said, you can look at somebody in hell and know why they're there. There's no ifs, ands, about it. Like if somebody was to look at me, they'll know why I was there.
The people that were in church, what were some of the sins that they did? Like
I saw more gossipers in hell than anything from the church.
Wow.
Gossip, backstabbing, lust in the church, right? But the most of all was the gossip.
But continue from you saw the bars and you saw people inside the bars and the ancient, like some people from like way back when.
Yeah,
continue
from ancient Persia all over. You can clearly see, you can clearly tell, like these things and these people were just there for thousands and thousands of years. Even the garbs they were wearing, some of them were skeletons, some of them, like I said, were just like ancient, but the color of their flesh was like a smoky gray darkness. It wasn't, you can't tell what race they were only by their features, but they were from all over, but they were very, very ancient. And I knew they were there for astrology, witchcraft. This like the whole, all of them were there for worshiping other gods, worshiping Baal, worshiping demons. Like all of this was like a dedicated section to those ancient ones who were worshiping other false gods, and then let other people to worship false gods. Well,
so what was some of the regret, like some of the things that they were saying, like that they were sorry about, stuff like that? Regret.
This is it, because I had the regret. I had the review. I call it the great review, because it comes a moment when you're in there where he shows you every detail, every conversation that you heard someone that you didn't even see, and how that causes a ripple effect in their life. Every bad thing I did, from even stealing the candy bar when I was 7 years old, to every detail that you ever did. Now, I don't know if people remember, in the Bible it says your own flesh will testify against you. See? So my own flesh was testifying against me, to me. And that's when I had the feeling that I have no right to get out of here. That's when I had the feeling that, you know what, I deserve this. That was when I came with a feeling, overwhelming feeling, where it hit me that, dang, I deserve to be here. There's no way I'm getting out of here, because you have so many people screaming, please let me make it up to her, or let me make it up to him. Give me one more chance to go say, like it was just so many things of regret that they wish they can do one more time to make things up to people. The things that they said to people, the things they physically did to people, the things that they stole from people, the thoughts that they were thinking about people, the gossip that they did someone and made someone lose their job or lose their reputation because of gossip. Even false gossip is even worse. When you just make up things about somebody because you're jealous of them. There's a lot of people, the spirit of jealousy. See, hell is very organized, and people don't realize this. Hell is so organized. It has a spirit for everything. A spirit for everything that you think is just you. No, a lot of the times, okay, I'm going to say this loud and clear. Everyone is accountable, okay? Your flesh, you're accountable for your own actions. So I'm not going to blame everything on demons. I'm not going to blame everything on the devil, because we do have accountability and responsibility for ourselves. But what I am saying is, they don't have the power to make you do anything. But what they do, they're great manipulators and they're great influencers. So and your flesh by default will go with the choice of the demons by default, because your flesh is so weak. So they know how to manipulate your flesh to make these decisions. But I was on a cliff, okay, and it was people on the right side, people on the left side. But when I looked, it was a desolate forest. And there was a path in the forest. But these trees, it wasn't a regular forest. These trees were dead. These trees it was just like a dead forest. And it was black sands, black and gray sands. Okay. But when I looked further up, that's when I felt this place. That whole time, I was in hell, but I call it pre-hell. But when I saw that place with these gates, I mean, it had to be 80 feet tall, 50 to 80 feet tall gates, old rock stone castles. I knew that was hell. I knew for a fact, if I passed those gates, I'm not coming back. And so as I'm standing on the cliff, and that's why I want to tell people, when you're in hell, there's no fellowship. That's why this part, I want to make it clear that the Lord obviously gave us the opportunity, because there was a long line of people in these chains, okay? And they were coming and they were walking on this path, but each on the side of them like guards, almost like prison guards, but they were demons. Just some of them big, some was walking, so these people wouldn't try to run off the path. And they were marching them towards the gates, to the gates. But one person noticed and looked up. Now I'm thinking that the person noticed the Lord behind us. But then gave them an opportunity to start screaming towards us, don't come here. Don't they were screaming in all different languages, and I'm looking at the people on this side, looking at the people on this side of the cliff, and they were screaming, don't, they were like giving us utter warnings. Like, don't, please. They were begging to not come, to not come. And when you can feel the sincerity and the fear and the terror, like it is beyond. Just by looking at that place and hearing them, I knew. I said, my next step is I'm about to be down there in that chain gang heading on that path. But all of a sudden, it was just like the same force of a swish, because around when I went to different compartments in hell, it was like I was teleporting. It was boom, boom. He was taking me. So now I know that was the Lord showing me. But all of a sudden, I felt that same back. But when I came, I got slammed into my body, and I was in the hospital. Okay.
How long did it feel like it was? You said it's timeless, right? But how long did it feel? Did it feel like you were there for a long time?
I feel like I was there for months. I feel like I was there for months.
Wow.
It felt like I was there for months.
Like Earth months, like our months. It felt
our months here on Earth. It felt like I was there for months. And I was only there for like 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Wow. So your wife said you were pronounced clinically dead.
3 minutes and 47 seconds.
What was the most memorable thing maybe that happened during that time in hell when you were being, shown different things that you want to share?
What sticks out to me, all of it to me was equally, but what sticks out in my mind was, I call it the human shish kebabs, where the giants were taking these big rusty poles, and they were taking humans and they were taking them from underneath, and they was putting them on these poles, like 4 or 5 at a time, and then they were carrying them around. Like, they put these spears through them. These spears are huge, and they would take the body and they would poke you through, and they would stuff you, and they'd stuff another one on top of you, and they'd stuff another one while you're screaming and moving, and then they'd pick you up, and I don't even know where they were carrying them. But to me, I still even get I still visualize it. I can still feel it. I can still smell the atmosphere. But to me, besides the females getting raped, the men's getting their genitals cut off, the sexual torture, and I call it the human shish kebab torture, to me, it really, 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 those are the two that really stick out to me. Really. So they want you. So listen, my job is just to deliver a message. I don't debate my experience. I don't have to debate it, because one thing we all have in common as human beings, we're all going to die. I'm just telling you. The Lord told me I don't have to debate anything. My job is just to tell you my experience, my testimony.
So I know we're kind of wrapping up, but I want you to talk about when you came back. You came back into your body. I want you to talk, you to talk about that, and then how you actually met Jesus and became a pastor, etc. I want that part of the story as well.
Yeah, well, when I came back into my body, like I said, it felt disgusting. I felt horrible. I felt like I was wearing it. It felt like if you put on like 3 outfits that were dipped in cold water. That's the best way I can describe it. It felt like I was literally wearing my body. I was wearing it like I'm wearing an outfit, and I felt nasty. It took a while for me to get rid of that. For a couple of weeks for me to get rid of that nasty feeling, because I was it's weird. But
so you were in the hospital when you woke up in the hospital, or
I was in the hospital, and the nurses were freaking out. Everybody was freaking out because they pretty much just gave up. They were wrapping it up. I can tell the machines were outside. They were just pretty much wrapping everything up, like, because I was done. It was.
So where were you shot? Where were you shot?
In my stomach, twice.
Okay.
Twice. In my abdomen. Okay. That's why I'm still experiencing medical conditions right now. I still have fragments of bullets in me. I may have to have an upcoming. So those who are believers, you can pray. My surgery goes well. I really appreciate that, because I have to have some bullet fragments removed from my intestines, from my small intestines still, because they're starting to rust and iodize in my stomach. So, yeah.
And your wife said that they said you wouldn't walk, but you started walking miraculously.
I still, even to this day, I still have complications of walking, but they told me I wouldn't walk again correctly. I wouldn't walk at all. But now I'm walking right now. I still walk with a limp. It still hurts when the weather changes. A lot of people know what that means. Like when it rains, when it snows, it's a lot of tremendous pain because I have permanent nerve damage. But that's better than being paralyzed. So thank the Lord. He gave me the ability. I'm walking again. So, yeah. But they told me I would never walk again. So
we're gonna pray indeed, right? So, so you got up on the bed. You were probably screaming, telling them. She said you said like you were screaming, and then
I was screaming like I didn't. First of all, the same way, just as fast as I left was just as fast as I came back. 2 different dimensions, like boom. After that swoosh, and it was pink, pink, and I was so beyond confused is an understatement. Okay, but looking at the nurse's face made me more scared because she was looking at me with, and she ran out the room. So I'm like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, and I was scared, and I didn't want to go back. So I'm screaming, don't let me go back. Please, don't, somebody, no, help. What's going on? Like, don't let me go back. Because I can even still hear in my heart, in my mind, I can still smell hell. I can still, so me being there, I just thought any second now I was going to be taken back there.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? It's the most scariest feeling ever,
Did you share it with anyone? Did you share the story when you got up afterwards, or you kept it to yourself for many years?
I
What happened?
kept it to myself for a minute. Honestly, I truly did, because first of all, it took a while for me to even grasp. That's how serious it is. That's how powerful it is. It took so long for me to even digest it, and it had the opposite effect at first. It gave me post-traumatic stress syndrome with a disorder. I mean, to the point where I start drinking more when I came back because of that hell experience. It had the reverse effect at first. It wasn't like the Lord, I came from hell and all of a sudden I was just with the, no. It had the reverse effect at first. I was so traumatized by it, it led me to drinking more. Even after the experience I experienced, you would think I would have woken up and just said, hey, no more. No, it made me very scared of a lot of things, different noises. Like I say, even to this day, I can't stand the smell of those matches. I can't do it. I can't, it just really brings me right back, and that's why it took me a long time to come out, because the Lord had to give me the energy and the strength to even rehash this story, because just thinking about it, that's how horrible it is. I had to have, this is his strength for me to be able to explain this without me having anxiety problems, because just remembering, I can see it, I can still smell the smells, I can still just, so I know it's him helping me tell this story. But yeah, go ahead.
So how did you now move from that place to actually becoming a believer? And I think your wife said you also have a degree as well, like a pastoral degree. So talk to us about when you decided to start a ministry and follow
Mhm.
Jesus, like fully.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, a couple of years ago, I did get my pastoralship. It was like 3.5 years ago, National Christian Church University. But see, only reason why I did that is because I already started my street ministry a long time ago. It had no name, it had nothing. I was just out there trying to preach the word. Okay. And what I had to get my credentials for, which I thought was to be able, because I wanted to speak at other jails, I wanted to speak around, but they said, where's your credentials? I'm like, wait a minute. Why do I have to have credentials? I got credentials. I'm a believer. See, that's how I know this system is fake. You know, did Paul and them have credentials? Right? Did the apostles and the disciples? No, they didn't. Their credentials was their experience. But now these days, yeah, let me see these documents. So I got it just to appease, so I can go to different jails and go to different things. And roughly, we just started this full ministry. I would say roughly about, what is it, 6 months ago, 5 to 6 months ago, am I correct? Yeah. Yeah, about 5, 6 months ago to start going. Because before that, we were out on the streets praying, passing out Bibles, but then the Lord put it on my heart, just like he put it on my heart. Now it's time for you to give your testimony. It's time for you to organize this now so you can bring more sheep into the fold. So now you can do more things and get the word out there.
How long after you had the experience you started street ministry and started to say, you know what, I'm going to take this seriously and start evangelizing, etc.?
It took about a good 14 years.
Wow. So 14 years before you started street ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
whole time were you grappling with your relationship with Jesus? You were trying to figure things out. What happened between that time?
He was building his relationship with me. I started to change instantly. I mean, I started to notice the change in my attitude, the people I was hanging with. So I started to see the instant changes. I definitely started to change. But people don't understand, the same way there's different levels of fear in hell, there's different levels of purity and maturity in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
See? And also, I learned from experience, you only rise as high as your faith. Okay? You only
Yeah.
rise and you're only as powerful as your faith. Okay?
Yeah.
And you only as powerful as how much you know him personally.